I wonder.
Come on, Toya. Come on, baby.
This is Latoya Acree, a 41-year-old mother of three, grandmother, and soul singer with a voice that could shake the heavens. But on September 18, 2021, this woman would be found dead in her own driveway, shot through the chest by the son she had raised and sheltered despite his violent behavior. But what could drive a son to pull a trigger and end his mother's life in such a brutal manner? What dark secret had she discovered that night that would seal her fate? Before I reveal the shocking truth that led to this execution, let me take you back to November 23, 1979, where this tragedy began. Latoya Clara Acree came into this world in Virginia, born to parents Telia Acree and Milton Carpenter, raised in a supportive family environment that emphasized faith and community. She was the granddaughter of Sterling and Clara Acree, growing up with values that would shape her into the woman she would become. From her earliest days, Latoya showed a passion for music and performance, singing in the Mount Hope Combined Mass Choir at Mount Hope Baptist Church, her voice rising above the congregation with power that made people stop and listen. She participated in musical plays at a local recreation center in Fredericksburg, her talent evident to anyone who witnessed her performances. Her early religious experiences at Antioch Baptist Church in Champlain, Virginia, shaped her worldview, encouraging her to inspire others to trust in a higher power, even when life threw devastating challenges at them.
Verbally, we agreed it was over, and we were through. We can't be friends. We can't be friends.
Latoya wasn't just a singer with dreams floating in the clouds. This woman was a doer, a builder, someone who understood that dreams required action and dedication. After completing high school, she pursued vocational training and earned a cosmetology license from Paul Mitchell The School in Woodbridge. She operated a successful salon for years, obtained a phlebotomy certificate in healthcare, and an associate's degree in criminal justice from Germanna Community College. By her late 30s, with her children reaching young adulthood and beginning to carve out their own paths in life, Latoya focused intensely on self-improvement and creative pursuits that had been simmering in her soul for decades. She enrolled in Walden University to study social work, aiming to help others professionally, to take her natural compassion and turn it into a career that could change lives. Simultaneously, she began modeling and taking paid singing gigs.
Soon as I get home. I'll make it up to you. So, yes, someday.
Covering popular soul songs that resonated deeply with local audiences who had been starved for genuine talent. Her powerful voice, often compared to Whitney Houston's in its incredible range and raw emotion, caught the attention of the Washington, D.C. area band True Soul. Joining in 2019, Latoya quickly became a standout member, traveling across the South to perform in bars, clubs, and events, her voice filling venues with a soul-stirring power that left audiences speechless. Bandmates like lead singer Caesar Roy praised her rapid rise, noting she was just starting to take off, with potential in both music and acting.
She had a lot of confidence issues in the beginning. She had lost, 100 pounds. She got a new boyfriend. She was really, really happy. It seemed like things were just turned around for her.
She had recently landed a role in an independent film shot in Washington, another dream materializing before her eyes. Marketing director Pam Gallahan, a close friend who witnessed LaToya's journey firsthand, remembered her as genuine, good-hearted, and someone who befriended everyone she met. But LaToya's transformation extended far beyond her career achievements and artistic pursuits. Struggling with her physical health amid a demanding performance schedule that required stamina and energy, she embarked on a rigorous weight loss journey that would shock everyone who knew her. Through consistent diet changes, relentless workouts, and the kind of discipline that most people only dream of possessing, she shed over 200 pounds. She transitioned from self-conscious social media posts where she would only show angled face shots, hiding from the camera's judgment, to confident full-body images that celebrated every inch of her hard-earned transformation. Her captions exuded self-love, such as, "You getting your vitamin D and work in progress, but ain't nothing wrong with loving yourself." Messages that inspired others who were struggling with their own journeys, their own demons, their own battles with self-acceptance. But tragically and heartbreakingly, LaToya's home life contrasted sharply with her glowing public persona. She raised 3 children largely alone, providing for them diligently, working multiple jobs and hustling to ensure they had food on the table, clothes on their backs, and a roof over their heads. Her youngest son, Elijah DeMont Smith, born around 2000, lived with her at the time of the incident that would end her life. Elijah was unemployed, undisciplined, and prone to moodiness and entitlement, a young man who seemed to believe the world owed him something simply for existing. He had a documented history of violence that should have served as a warning sign, including a prior assault on his own brother who had intervened during a mother-son argument. LaToya had set basic house rules, such as prohibiting him from bringing women home for intimate encounters, designed to maintain respect within the household. But Elijah repeatedly disregarded these rules, treating his mother's home like a hotel where he could do whatever he pleased without consequences. Despite his increasingly problematic behavior and violent outbursts, LaToya gave him multiple chances to change, to become the man she knew he could be. She was unable to abandon him to the streets, a decision rooted in her compassionate nature, but ultimately and fatally misguided. This would be the compassion that killed her. On September 17, 2021, LaToya returned home from a trip, probably looking forward to peace before the domestic violence awareness performance her band was scheduled to give the next day. She walked through her front door to discover Elijah violating her rules by engaging in intimate activities with a woman in the house. She confronted him immediately, demanding that he pack his things and leave, finally drawing a line after years of tolerating his behavior. This was a mother who had reached her breaking point. The argument spilled into the driveway around 12:30 in the morning on September 18th, voices raised, emotions high. As Elijah loaded his belongings into his car, he made a decision that would destroy multiple lives. He pointed a gun through the passenger side window and fired a single shot into LaToya's chest at close range. Neighbors, jolted awake by the unmistakable crack of gunfire, immediately called 911, their hands probably shaking as they dialed, their hearts pounding as they tried to explain what they had heard. Deputies from the Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office arrived within minutes to find LaToya critically wounded in the driveway of her Pond Lee Drive home, blood pooling beneath her body, her life slipping away with every passing second. Despite immediate CPR from first responders and rapid transport to a hospital where doctors fought desperately to save her life, she was pronounced dead from the catastrophic upper body gunshot wound that had torn through vital organs and blood vessels.
A woman who was known for her powerful singing voice was shot and killed early Saturday morning. Police say her son pulled the trigger. Northern Virginia Bureau reporter Drew Wilder has more on the murder of LaToya Acree.
And that's the case that happened here as related to LaToya Acree and her son. This boy was running wild. She could not control him.
Elijah didn't stay at the scene, nor he call for help or render aid to the mother who had given him life. Instead, he fled like the coward he had always been, heading to a nearby 4 Mile Fork motel with the same woman who had been at the center of the confrontation, probably thinking he could escape justice, probably believing he could outrun the consequences of murdering his own mother in cold blood. But authorities tracked him to that motel, surrounded the building, and arrested him without incident. A thorough search of his vehicle uncovered the murder weapon and a shell casing, physical evidence that would prove beyond any shadow of doubt that Elijah DeMont Smith had executed his mother. The investigation would reveal even more disturbing details about Elijah's background and mindset. He had been out on bond for an unrelated assault charge at the time of the murder, already in trouble with the law, already demonstrating that he was a danger to those around him. Reports from family members and acquaintances painted a picture of someone who felt entitled to everything, refused to work, lived off his mother's generosity, while showing her nothing but contempt and disrespect. He had a documented history of violence within the family, including the assault on his brother, that should have been a massive red flag about his capacity for harm. The irony of the timing made the tragedy even more painful to process. True Soul, LaToya's band, had been preparing for a performance specifically designed to raise awareness about domestic violence, scheduled for the day after her murder. She was supposed to be on that stage, using her powerful voice to advocate for victims, to shine a light on the epidemic of family violence, to be a beacon of hope for those trapped in dangerous situations. Instead, she became another statistic, another victim and name added to the countless women killed by family members in domestic disputes that escalate beyond the point of return. The band would eventually perform that show, but it became a memorial for LaToya rather than a performance with her, a tribute to a life cut short rather than a celebration of her rising talent. They wore purple, shared resources like the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and dedicated every note to the memory of a woman who had worked so hard to transform herself, to chase her dreams, to finally live the life she had always deserved. Caesar Roy, the lead singer who had watched LaToya's star begin to rise, had to perform while grieving the loss of a bandmate, a friend, a sister in music who would never again stand beside him on stage. Elijah was charged with second-degree murder and use of a firearm in a felony, serious charges carrying decades behind bars. A preliminary hearing in April 2022 certified the charges to a grand jury. The trial began in January 2023, more than a year after LaToya's death. Prosecutors emphasized the intentional nature of the act. Elijah had fired through his car window after an escalation, making a conscious choice to point a gun at his mother and pull the trigger. The defense pushed for a reduction to voluntary manslaughter based on heat of passion arguments, but the jury convicted him on the original charges. Sentencing occurred on April 14, 2023. Judge Ricardo Rigual imposed 44 years imprisonment, suspending 10 years for an effective 34-year term that meant Elijah, age 23, could be released around age 56 with good behavior. This aligned with Virginia's sentencing guidelines for second-degree murder, which range from 5 to 40 years. But for LaToya's family, the sentence felt like an insult to her memory. Kiana Carpenter, LaToya's niece, emerged as the most vocal family member, articulating the collective pain and dissatisfaction. Standing outside the courthouse, she stated, "My aunt didn't deserve this. He's a threat to society, family or not. If he could kill again, I'm sure he would. I forgive him, but I'll never forget." But Kiana's sentiments intensified in a social media post following the sentencing, capturing widespread attention in true crime communities. "My cousin was sentenced to 34 years in prison for killing my aunt. 34 still just don't seem like enough to me." It isn't. 34 years is a slap on the wrist for executing the woman who gave you life. A woman who raised you, protected you, and still let you stay after you'd assaulted her. A woman who was finally chasing her dreams, finally living for herself, finally happy, and had it all taken away over a petty, pathetic act of disrespect. LaToya deserved so much more. Carpenter's words portrayed the sentence as failing to honor LaToya's remarkable transformation. From a cosmetologist running her own salon and struggling with her weight, to a rising star in true soul who had lost over 200 pounds, who was set to perform at a domestic violence awareness event the day after her death, who had finally found the happiness that had eluded her for so long. Other family members contributed to the narrative of loss, though less directly critiquing the sentence than Kiana had. LaToya's sister Shauna Parrish focused on memorializing her through a GoFundMe campaign for funeral expenses, describing LaToya as an inspiration who wasn't afraid to go after her dreams, a woman who had shown others that transformation was possible, that it was never too late to chase what you wanted, that weight and age and obstacles were just challenges to overcome rather than reasons to give up. To further contextualize this case within Virginia's legal framework, sentencing guidelines allowed judicial discretion, and Elijah's 34-year term reflects various considerations like his youth at the time of the crime and his lack of prior murder convictions. Yet for the family, for those who knew LaToya, for those who watched her transform herself and chase her dreams, only to have it all ripped away in an instant, the sentence terribly undermined what they saw as systemic shortcomings in addressing violence within families, particularly when sons kill mothers who have sacrificed everything for them. Comparable cases involving second-degree murders within families often see similar sentencing ranges across Virginia, but the emotional factors surrounding LaToya's case, her church involvement that had shaped her faith and values, her incredible weight loss journey that inspired so many others, her rising artistic career that was just beginning to take off, her domestic violence advocacy work that made her murder even more ironic, intensified the sense that the punishment failed to match the crime.
But at the end of the day, it was the way she raised him that turned him into this dysfunctional male, because the bad seed that everybody wants to say that he was planted by the mother.
Was it really the mother, or just a son who wanted to live his life the way he had fashioned it? Let me know what you think in the comment section below.
This is a remake of Me 79. I'd be so happy if you join me. Thank you so much. We belong together, and you know that I'm right. Why do you play with my heart? Why do you play with my mind? When I can't sleep at night without holding you tight, girl, each time I try, I just break down and cry. Pain in my head, or I'd rather be dead, spinning around and around.
Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.